China has now verified what NASA has been frantically working to keep out of public view. And a reality surrounding 3I/ATIS far more disturbing than anyone ever expected. A confidential briefing, recently leaked to international outlets, reveals that Chinese space authorities uncovered conclusions about Atlas that completely dismantle the interstellar comet story we've been told for months. According to China's findings, Atlas isn't only artificial, it is openly hostile, and it has been preparing for something catastrophic from the moment it crossed into our solar system. The leaked briefing outlines evidence that Atlas has been deploying weapons, establishing strike positions, and methodically charting Earth's defensive systems. This is not exploration or peaceful contact. In China's assessment, this is reconnaissance ahead of invasion. NASA observed the same indicators weeks earlier. They chose to classify the data and hoped the situation would fade away quietly. China chose disclosure, and what they've confirmed is horrifying. Before we break down exactly what China found and why it's worse than anything we've prepared for, hit subscribe and drop a like because this information could matter in the weeks ahead. Atlas is not a captivating mystery under scientific study. It is the forward element of something vastly larger, more coordinated, and far more dangerous than the public has been told. And we have far less time than we believed. The leaked documents present China's analysis in devastating detail, and every data point points to the same nightmare, that Atlas is a military asset executing pre-invasion operations. China confirms that Atlas has released more than 200 objects across the solar system over the past 8 weeks. NASA described these as research probes or observation tools. China's conclusion is far darker. These are weapons platforms taking up strategic positions. Their placement is deliberate. Each object occupies a location that optimizes control of Earth's orbital space. Together, they form an overlapping network that grants Atlas, or whatever commands it, full surveillance and engagement coverage of Earth's entire orbital path. A military space analyst who examined the leak summed it up clearly. This is classic orbital bombardment positioning. Assets are placed to allow strikes anywhere on the planet while maintaining layered defense against retaliation. Atlas has spent 2 months constructing exactly such a system. These objects are not passive sensors. China's spectroscopic data shows dense metallic cores surrounded by high-energy power systems. That is the unmistakable signature of kinetic weapons. Designato be dropped at extreme velocity and release massive destructive energy on impact. But weapons deployment is only one part of what China confirmed. Atlas itself has been mapping Earth's defensive infrastructure. Every time it emits the electromagnetic signals we've struggled to decode. It is also conducting active radar scans of Earth's surface. China tracked these scans for 3 weeks. Atlas concentrated on military bases, nuclear sites, communications nodes, power grid systems, and satellite ground stations. This was not general observation. It was target selection. An intelligence analyst explained the implication. Atlas is building a strike database. It is identifying which assets must be destroyed first to cripple Earth's ability to respond. Power, communications, command centers. These are day one targets in any invasion. Atlas has been cataloging them all. Most damning of all, China detected Atlas actively testing Earth's response on 3 separate occasions. ATLAS released small objects on trajectories that passed close to military satellites. Each time, defense systems tracked them but did nothing. Atlas was probing our thresholds, learning what triggers our action and what is not. China's analysis of the deployed objects reveals capabilities that are deeply alarming. These are not crude kinetic impactors. They are advanced weapons systems using technology barely within our grasp. Each object generates intense electromagnetic fields that could disable electronics across hundreds of miles if activated together. The 200-plus objects surrounding Earth could create global electromagnetic pulses, destroying every unshielded electronic system. Every computer, every phone, every power grid, every satellite. No communication and no electricity. No coordination. That is what Atlas has positioned itself to achieve with a single command. And that is only the beginning. The objects also appear capable of emitting focused energy beams, space-based laser particle weapons. China observed test firings aimed at asteroids and debris. The targets were instantly vaporized at a weapons engineer reviewing the data stated the implication bluntly. These are directed energy weapons with output levels that exceed anything on Earth by orders of magnitude. One object could erase a city from orbit. 200 could annihilate every major population center at once. The kinetic threat is just as severe. Each object mass is between 10 and 50 tons and sits in orbits, allowing impact within hours of attack orders. At orbital velocity, even a 10-ton object strikes with nuclear-level force. Atlas has effectively positioned hundreds of nuclear equivalent impacts in readiness. China also discovered the objects are networked, constantly communicating, forming a distributed command system. Destroying some would not collapse the array. It is engineered to survive counterstrikes. Even worse, the weapons are autonomous. They are not dependent on continuous commands from Atlas. They make independent decisions under pre-programmed protocols, capable of executing attacks without further input. Even destroying Atlas would leave over 200 active weapons platforms in orbit. Neutralizing them all is far beyond our current ability. China's analysis of Atlas itself reveals capabilities even more dangerous. The main object functions as a mobile command platform with its own offensive systems. Its propulsion defies known engineering. Chinese observations show acceleration approaching 50,000 miles per hour and equally rapid acceleration, with no exhaust or thermal signature. This suggests propulsion based on unknown physics, possibly gravity or space-time manipulation. That makes ATLS nearly impossible to intercept. Our fastest missiles would take hours to reach it, time in which Atlas could easily relocate. Interception is effectively impossible with current technology. Its defenses go beyond speed. China detected active energy fields capable of deflecting incoming objects, along with charged particle systems that could destroy approaching missiles. A defense contractor reviewing the data reached a grim conclusion. Atlas appears immune to anything we can deploy. Kinetic weapons can be avoided or intercepted. Nuclear weapons would fare no better. Directed energy cannot penetrate its shielding. We are facing a target we literally cannot hit. Its offensive systems are equally overwhelming. The same energy arrays used for defense can be turned outward. China observed Atlas test firing a beam weapon at a roughly 100-meter asteroid. The asteroid was completely vaporized. If Atlas can erase an object that's sized from millions of miles away, it can destroy any city, base, or infrastructure in Earth that will. China's briefing also confirms Atlas is part of something larger. Its transmissions are not limited to local communication with deployed assets. Some signals appear directed into deep space, possibly reporting to additional units or a distant command authority that Atlas may not be alone. Other assets could already be in the solar system, or reinforcements could be en route toward once reconnaissance is complete. The documents describe a multi-phase operation, with Atlas serving as advanced reconnaissance and infrastructure setup. In military terms, this means Atlas is the scouting force ahead of a main invasion fleet. This confirmation transforms Atlas from a scientific curiosity into an immediate existential threat. And it proves we were wrong about everything. For months, the history was cautiously hopeful. Yes, ATLS was strange. Yes, it might be artificial, but perhaps it was scientific. Perhaps first contact will be difficult, yet ultimately positive. China's analysis destroys that illusion. Atlas is not here to study us. It is here to conquer, exploit, or erase us. Weapon deployment, target mapping, defensive positioning. These are acts of war. Every day spent debating its nature was a day Atlas Usedo entrench itself. Every week, Ines minimize the threat was a week ATLS weapons and refined targets. An astropolitical analyst put it starkly, it's like arguing over bomber intent in World War II while they quietly take position overhead. By the time the threat is acknowledged, the strikes are already inevitable. Our defenses are catastrophically malignant. Atlas was treated as distant and academic, not an immediate threat. Assets were not deployed. Protocols were not activated. Civilians were not prepared. China's disclosure reportedly triggered emergency military repositioning and full defensive posture, likely including nuclear readiness. Russia followed suit. Other nuclear powers are doing the same quietly. But here is the terrifying truth. Nuclear weapons may be useless. ATLAS operates beyond effective delivery ranges, likely detects and intercepts missiles, and nuclear detonations in space would cripple our own satellites, that we face a threat immune to our strongest weapons. Entrenched throughout orbital space, prepared while we hesitated. The timing makes it worse. China's data suggests Atlas is nearing the end of its preparation phase. Countdown sequences, increased object activity, intensified scans, all indicate action is imminent. The documents also reveal something even more disturbing. NASA detected most off this weeks ago. They knew weapons were being deployed. They knew military targets were mapped. They knew the threat. They chose secrecy. The leaked files reference communications between Chinese and American agencies. NASA acknowledged detecting the same hostile indicators, but argued for continued classification to prevent panic. A crisis communications expert explained the implication. NASA decided the public could not handle the truth. Rather than prepare humanity, they chose silence, hoping for solutions behind closed doors. That gamble has failed. NASA believed they could disable or negotiate with Atlas before disclosure. They believed they had time. China's confirmation proves how wrong that was. Deployments happened faster. Capabilities exceeded projections. The timeline collapsed. Secrecy left us exposed. Internal communications show repeated attempts to downplay each escalation. Even now, NASA remains largely silent in briefings. No warnings. No admission of error. They appear to be hoping the situation resolves without acknowledging their failure. But delay has consequences. Preparations that should have begun months ago are starting now. Coordination is happening under extreme pressure. The global population remains unaware that invasion may be imminent. A national security analyst summarized it bluntly. NASA had a duty to warn. They chose concealment. That is not caution. That is negligence on a planetary scale. The AS government scrambled to respond. Atlas continues its operations. And its latest movement suggests time is almost gone. Atlas has shifted to a new position approximately 130 million miles from Earth, about 30% closer than before, and it is closing steadily. The urgency of Atlas's approach cannot be overstated. Every orbital maneuver, every deployment of objects, every electromagnetic pulse recorded by Chinese instruments is part of a carefully orchestrated sequence designed to maximize strategic advantage. Analysts warn that what we are witnessing is not a temporary or isolated threat. It is an active campaign being conducted on a planetary scale. The sophistication of the system indicates premeditation and intelligence far beyond anything humanity has encountered before. Every signal Atlas emits is not merely communication. It is data gathering, calculation, and threat assessment in real time. The object is not reactive. It is proactive, anticipating Earth's potential responses and adjusting accordingly. Even the simplest of Atlas's movements carry implications. Shifts in its orbital path, previously assumed to be natural adjustments, are now recognized as deliberate positioning for maximum coverage and rapid deployment potential. The network of deployed objects is more than defensive. It is an offensive web, capable of striking simultaneously or sequentially with precision timing that would overwhelm any planetary defense system. The level of coordination, the distributed autonomous decision-making, and the overlapping fields of observation suggest that Atlas operates like a highly intelligent military command center, but on a scale and in a medium humans have never fully mastered. The implications for global security are staggering. Civilian infrastructure, previously thought to be safe from spaceborne threats, is now revealed to be highly vulnerable. From communications networks to energy grids, from military installations to satellites enabling navigation and defense, every critical system is within Atlas's calculated range. Experts warn that even minor miscalculations by human operators in response to its movements could trigger catastrophic failures. And with over 200 autonomous weapons deployed, redundancy ensures that eliminating a few targets would not neutralize the threat. It would merely slow it down. Atlas has been designed to survive countermeasures and adapt instantly. China's leaked documents also highlight the psychological dimension of Atlas's operations. Its systematic cataloging of Earth's defensive readiness suggests it has the capacity to exploit hesitation, confusion, or miscommunication among global powers. This is more than a kinetic or energy-based threat. It is an informational and strategic dominance scenario. By learning how nations respond under pressure, Atlas can optimize its deployment sequence for maximum disruption. Analysts describe this as the ultimate war game, executed at speeds and precision no human military could match. The very act of public disclosure by China has shifted the global strategic landscape, forcing other nations to reevaluate their assumptions, their readiness, and their capacity to respond under extreme time constraints.